That's what going to war does to people.
Every meeting I sat in, you complained that you never got anything.
Was it on the agenda?
There's nothing that makes you happy.
As we enter back into this town hall meeting, where a special meeting has already occurred, and Don the Con jumped up and left.
$3 submit to the state, and you gotta negotiate a contract.
And then randomly came back. I think it's only fair to share with you that Tallahassee is meeting with us in just a couple of weeks for full-blown investigation of Otter Creek. This is all confidential information. While I have made many requests to actually film and share all this information with you, it is prohibited, and no information from the investigation becomes public until it's finalized 5 days afterwards.
We did the pledge earlier, so we'll just go in a roll call. Russell Meeks.
Yeah.
Don Severino.
Present.
Therese Granger present. Zim Pageant.
Present.
Okay. So first off, I'd like to introduce our new attorney, Megan Logan.
This is the attorney that represented the town of Otter Creek in my records request lawsuit. And it wasn't the townspeople that broke the law, it was Russell. It was Attorney Warm. It was Mary. All three of them are part of it. And just so you know, Russell claimed to this attorney, who then shared it with my attorney, that his cell phone conveniently has been destroyed and misplaced. Oh, guess who else is? Mary's. Odd, isn't it, as we're looking for text?
Yay, we have an attorney. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Excited to have somebody.
Yes. All right, the first thing we have is the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
All right, we have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All right, I have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Unanimous. Agenda approved.
It's a very light agenda this time around. The biggest thing they have to accomplish is try to fill a council seat. Remember, Gail stepped down. This Form 6 that's taking over Florida is pushing a lot of good people out of a lot of seats in government. And I don't blame her one bit for stepping down. I don't blame anybody who's stepping down because of this. It's a complete and total invasion of privacy. Now, what's going to happen is we have 2 candidates up for this position. And now, instead of 5 people voting, you have 4. And you always know, Russ the Suss and Don the Con, which remember, just a year ago, Don was completely and totally against Russ. But the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And then you have Madam Mayor and Zim voting, which means lame duck, null and void. Let's see what happens.
The next thing we have is to approve the bills. Do I hear a motion to approve the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
All right, I have a motion to pay the bills. Do we have a second to pay the bills?
It's a motion.
When,
We paid them, remember? Now that we're the third, we paid them on the 10th of normal, and I gave everybody a list of what was paid.
This is the first night with the new meeting schedule. So normally they would vote to pay the bills, then the bills would be paid, but that was on the second Tuesday of every month. Well, we're on the third Tuesday now, and the bills had to be paid. So Belinda paid the bills, then supplied everybody with a list of the bills that had to be paid, or that were paid. They know what's being paid. They just have to have oversight of it.
Okay.
Okay. So then we don't need a motion to, the bills are paid.
All right. Then we'll go right to the approval of the minutes. We have the minutes that were amended from October 10th, and then we have the minutes from November 14th. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
okay, with the October minutes, there were some errors in them.
Yeah,
And
and she
that's what
amended them.
we thought we were going to amend them.
Yes, she did send out
Okay.
an amendment.
I don't know, I how it goes, but once you made the minutes, and then you should amend those minutes. But what happened, you revised the whole thing. It was just a whole nother set of minutes.
Remember at the last meeting when Don claimed I was hijacking the meeting? Well, buckle your seatbelt because he just hijacked this entire ride.
No, I kept the same one. I just made note where you said no, I put no response because you raised your hand and I didn't hear you say yes. That was it. It's where you're saying I said no, you and Russell said no. Russell said no, no response from you.
Well,
That was the only thing that
she made, you know, the termination of whatever the ayes and the nays were, right there, and you should have known. So in other words, you're saying there was 4 votes and there was a missing vote.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
You should have caught that right away, because
There again, it's.
I was here. If that was the case, you should remind me that if I didn't vote, that I would have to fill out a special form.
I don't know anything about that.
I'm here now.
Pardon?
I'm here now.
Good. Okay.
What Don is referring to is he was told that he is not allowed to any longer abstain from votes. None of the council members are allowed to abstain from votes. You legally must vote yay, which is yes, or nay, which is no. An absentee, it's the same as a no. You must vote. And there's a form if they refuse to vote that they have to fill out for the government.
And also, okay, like you said, you didn't change it, it was still marked down as I voted or I opposed this one, or I didn't really oppose something. You just, it seemed like
I wrote
the
no
minutes,
response.
the minutes were supposed to reflect what happened
They did.
at the meeting.
They said no
So apparently,
response.
they didn't really reflect that.
Again, no response is what you
But there
had.
was a response.
But it was neither recorded, nor was it seen. Nothing. You didn't say anything, so it's no response.
I did say aye, and I know I did, and I heard it on the recording.
2 major things right here. Number 1, Don said, I heard. And his hearing is going to come up here in just a moment. And then on a recording. And then he's going to complain that things aren't going to be recording. So number 1, he tells us he can't hear. And then number 2, there's no recording. So what recording did he hear this on? Because I'm pretty sure he's not watching What the Hales. Although I have gone back and I've already shown exactly what happened. I don't think Don looked at that. Is he talking about Russ's recordings that Russ is illegally removing from town hall after each meeting?
So, if that's your stance, that's your stance. I have my stance also.
Okay, so do I hear a motion to approve these minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right, do I have a second to approve the minutes?
That's the amended version.
Yes.
Correct.
That's
All right, all in favor, say aye. Don, were you in favor or opposed?
I was not in favor of the minutes that didn't reflect what I.
Okay, so Don's opposed, minutes are approved.
Are you not just as confused as I am? Don just goes on this whole monologue on his vote is not reflected right in the minutes. And Belinda states there was no verbal, no visual. Now, when it's time to vote, Don says nothing. No visual, no verbal, to the point where Madam Mayor has to babysit and make sure there's both a visual and a verbal from Don. She has to mine it out of him. Huh, you think maybe Don's the problem?
Trying to separate vote for the other one or just all together?
So the 2 minutes, so that was for the amended and for last month's.
Yeah.
Did everyone understand that? That was for the amended minutes and for last month's
November.
minutes.
Was everyone good with November's minutes?
I think I
Or are you
had,
opposed to that as well?
bear with me. While I was organized with font.
Need more paper clips, it's probably behind all the financials. Oh my goodness. We got a lot going on here.
Well, I read like 20-something pages.
So one of the 5 sheets underneath your envelope.
Under the folder?
Yeah.
Did you get that on there?
It's embarrassing, somewhat.
This isn't even close to Don's most embarrassing moments in Town Hall. And honestly, the people of Otter Creek have lost faith in Don long before this. They have no confidence in him whatsoever.
Well, I put a few things together with stapled with paper clips, and that was, okay, apparently, it's not that important. Seems like. All right, I'm gonna forego that, my bad. So I did have a,
You're gonna go opposed for the November, is what you're saying?
I'm gonna not oppose that, even though I know there was something that was not right there. It could have been amended tonight, but without having to, do it next month. But we can move on.
And you were good with those, Russell? The November? All right.
Okay, here it is, I'm sorry.
So just to be clear, you have one motion and a second and a vote for both October and November.
Yes.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It's just a procedural thing more than a.
No problem. All right, moving forward, we have the public participation. Members of the public have 3 minutes to speak to the council on a topic. There are some forms if anybody wanted to fill it out, if anybody had a comment. Did anybody have a comment this evening? Did you fill out a card? Did you put it in the box?
Madam Mayor's asking me if I filled out a card, which I did. And George is normally sitting right next to me, but George is actually in the bathroom right now. She's vomiting, unfortunately. Yeah, I know. Town of Otter Creek meetings, they make her sick. Actually, she probably picked a little something up out of Christmas in the Creek and us running around in the rain all night. And that being said, no matter how we feel, no matter what's going on, we will both, Jeremy and George, will be at every single meeting at Town Hall.
It's like a little lottery box. All right. Our first comment is from Jeremy Hills. Go ahead.
I just want to take the opportunity to thank the residents of Otter Creek as they represented the town as a whole, not only to Levy County, but honestly to the world. And I saw individuals such as Madam Mayor Therese directing traffic out in flood rains with thousands and thousands of people backed up. Vice Mayor Zim out and caring for people as well. Doug and Belinda with superhuman strength as thousands of children jumped up on their laps and told them what they wanted for Christmas. And Belinda's smile and Doug's ho 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 and them holding hands for hours upon hours upon hours. And Ellie serving sacrificially for hours and hours. And Gail for 7+ hours standing in the same spot with taking no break. What an example for her granddaughter who was serving as well. I got to say that I was so impressed as there were over 50 volunteers at Christmas in the Creek, and half of those were residents of Otter Creek, including Brett as well, directing traffic in the rain. And there's many others that aren't here tonight. But I want to encourage the residents of Otter Creek that I think you've encouraged not only Levy County, I think your encouragement goes forward throughout the world. They've seen it, and the world cares about you as well. So I just want to share my appreciation and honestly brag on you a little bit. I can't believe what I saw happen as the town came together, honestly, for the first time, I feel like, since I've lived here in Otter Creek, and it was an amazing, amazing experience to see all that Christmas joy. So thank you. And Joyce was there too. Very much so. Joyce was foundational in that. Foundational.
It was pretty amazing, I'll have to say, being with the weather the way it was. The kids were so excited and none of them were complaining. And
The Hudson mentality is alive and well in Otter Creek. And honestly, around the world. This impact has been felt around the world. And that's our prayer, that it pays it forward to others in every corner, in every place. The Hudson mentality shouldn't just be in Otter Creek. It should be everywhere.
it's just an amazing example of what can happen when people come together, because we are better together. So it would be nice in the future if more of that happened, and just to see all the love from all over the country for this small little town. And I just hope to see that continue.
Saturday, they complained because they was wet and cold, and their wives told them to buckle up. The kids ain't complaining, just
Yeah, it was
bear
amazing to
with.
see such well-behaved children in such conditions. I couldn't believe it, but that's what it's all about. It really is.
Jeremy, outside of the money that you spent on the toys from Five Below, how many were donated dollar value wise?
Oh, there was over $100,000 in toys donated.
Isn't that incredible?
Of-
Those are people
around
that
the
donated
world.
outside the town.
From
and had
around the
no
world.
dog in the fight.
It's amazing.
That's amazing.
I hope it continues.
And I think we have one other.
We do. We have one from Mr. Doug Standridge.
My complaint is see if we can get the county to fix the drainage in front of the water plant and my property in the city park, because when it's flooded like we got, they get every bit of the rain now from over the last quite a few years. See if they can reopen them drain pipes across the road. No, that would be highly appreciated if they will do it.
This was a very abnormal storm we had.
I know that, but what I'm saying, the drain pipes are stopped up.
Right. The whole system is definitely overwhelmed with just regular times. And unfortunately, there's a lot of things here that we can inquire with the counties.
Yeah, we can definitely put in some costs. We'll have to get our clerk on that.
The county is responsible for vast majority of the roads in Otter Creek. Now, whether they actually come in and fix and do what they're responsible for, that's a whole nother issue. A lot of times, the squeaky wheel, that's the one that gets greased. We gotta call, if we're gonna get anything done at all.
All right, did anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay. We don't have any old business. And our new business is, did you have something?
Yes, ma'am, pardon me. Russell, I need to get from you the last 4 meetings from your recorder, please, sir.
Everything that Russell Meek Sr. records is not personal property. Because he's an elected official, it is private property of Town Hall, open to the public. And he continues to remove it from Town Hall. Again, not okay.
Since you haven't given me a current update.
Okay. Okay.
Now we're on old business, or move on.
We didn't
And
have-
speaking of the recorder, because of these discrepancies in the minutes and what really happens here, I would like to say that we reinstate.
We have now that there's cell phones, and it's being recorded right now on the cell phone.
Your phone?
No,
Town.
the town hall cell
Okay.
phone.
And that's gonna be,
Standard.
okay, it's gonna be transferred to any
Yeah.
other device?
It will be transferred to the desktop, as well as it will be uploaded to the Google Vault, as well as T-Mobile's Vault. So we will have it in 3 different places.
Excellent, much appreciated.
Yeah. Trying to make improvements as we go along. All right, anything else? Okay, we'll go on to new business, which is filling the vacant council seat. As you see, there was 2 letters of interest that were put in.
Okay, there were 2 letters put in, but that doesn't disqualify anybody else from being nominated.
Well, the procedure is to put in a letter of interest, and they had until December 15th to do so.
But that can't be a requirement, you know, I mean, you certainly, we can ask for it, but that means everybody else who didn't put in that by December the 15th, they're not eligible to be nominated?
I mean, I don't know that that's a charter requirement, but I think that was the town's process for selecting someone and it was posted, and I mean, that was the response, was to submit a letter of interest.
Here we go, Don the Con's conversations about applications versus resumes again. Now it's, okay, you have to put in a letter of interest versus we can nominate anybody, right? And you're thinking, well, who's he thinking about nominating? The only thing I can figure is going through his head. His son ran for a council seat, got the lowest amount of votes of anybody, not even close. So is Don gonna try and nominate his own son for this open council seat? Well, if his son was actually interested, why didn't he put in a letter of interest? And why isn't he at the town hall meeting?
I don't think it's in the charter.
No, I don't disagree with you.
Okay, so does that mean everybody else is not able to be nominated?
No, I don't think it does.
Right.
But when do we have a cutoff?
Well, I mean, I think what he's suggesting is you already had a cutoff for your letters of interest, and obviously someone who is interested, you would think, would submit a letter of interest.
Yeah.
But that being said, I don't think there's a prohibition, an outright prohibition on nominating someone that did not put in a letter of interest.
Should they be here tonight?
I mean, again, one would think if they're interested, they would be here and or express their interest.
Right.
So we table this until next month's meeting?
No, I don't think so. I think you have your letters of interest, and if he's suggesting there's someone else, I think it's up for
Wants
consideration.
to make a motion.
Exactly.
Only 4 members of the council. There used to be 5. They're looking for number 5. It's Russ and Don literally against Madam Mayor and Vice Mayor. So 2 against 2, where literally nothing can happen unless there's another vote. And no, the mayor's vote doesn't trump a tie. So they bring their person to the table. Russell makes a nomination, and it's voted, and it's turned down 2-2. And then Madam Mayor and Vice Mayor bring their nomination to the table. You want to guess what happens?
I make a motion we look at Carl. Please.
All right, all in favor of Carl Hughes? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
All right, the seat sits vacant.
Not only does the seat sit vacant until the upcoming election in April and then implemented in May, but that means that it's always going to be a 2-2 tie. So the good news is the bad guys can't do anything bad. The bad news is the good guys can't do anything good. Literally, nothing's going to happen for this town until May, unless something drastic happens.
All right, and the next thing we have on the agenda is the notice of election. So Otter Creek has 3 council seats that will be coming up. The qualifying dates for the seats are January 22nd, 12 p.m. through January 26th, 12 p.m. The election date is April 2nd, 2024. The books close March 4th for the April 2nd, 2024 election.
I question that 3 seats. Because you're including me in that. You assigned me a 1-year term and you can't do that. You don't have the authority to do that.
Why is Russell worried about a 1-year term? If he's so good for this town, if he's the man with the plan that can save everybody, well, wouldn't he be confident to say, yeah, give me the 1-year term? They're just going to vote me back in again and again and again. Except anybody who would vote him back in would be a fool. And you'd be opening up this town into the biggest legal liability situation they've ever seen. Because now I have all the documents. And I know exactly what they legally should have been doing and what they weren't doing.
Not to mention the fact that if you look in the charter, it specifically says that whoever was appointed is subject to that. I'd like a legal opinion on that from you and from the Attorney General and the Division of Elections if we need it.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with the little backstory, but it was a 3-way tie. Okay.
I don't.
Okay, there was a 3-way tie.
Okay.
And the way the elections are, 1 year, 3 people are, and then the other one is 2.
Sure.
So because of a resignation, this election cycle, Councilman, we had to place 4 people here. Okay, so that means to keep up the 2-year, 3-year cycle, one of those people would have to just serve 1 term.
When they ran the election, they didn't run it correctly and didn't list one of the seats as a 1-year term, and that's why there was the confusion. They weren't proactive on the situation.
Let me do some layman interpretation for you. Russell and Mary screwed it up royally, just like everything else in the town.
And so normally it's done by some random, some random way. This time they didn't do it, and the mayor seemed to think that she could just pick someone to do that. So since there was a resignation this term, to me, that would negate having to have a person serve 1 year, since they were all duly elected, and now so this election cycle will be going back to the 2-3, because, coming up, there'll be 2 seats available, and that's what we were trying, that was the whole,
When I asked him,
that was the whole reason
she said,
to do that 1-year term, was to get back to the 3-2 cycle.
if we had an election coming up with a resignation, the person who filled it even tonight is only going to tote it until April, whereupon they have to go to an election.
Yes, but that doesn't exist here.
It does, because at the time that she was still in office, we still had your 2 seats coming up in April.
It was the same standards as it was previous election.
Okay, so
It
how?
was the same, can I finish? It was the same standards as then, but the elections took place. The election went and took place, and there was no regards of a appointed seat or not appointed seat or no other seats. It was just 3 people or 4 people ran for 4 seats. And they didn't clarify, they should have clarified when they did the listing for the positions to run, was one of them was a 1-year term. And they did not specify.
And that was the person that was appointed.
It was not specified in the election. It wasn't specified in the election.
It's in the charter.
But they did
But the
not,
clerk didn't label it during the election, so it was done improperly.
they never expected a 3-way tie.
The
That's what
3-way tie
started
has
the
nothing to do with
Absolutely.
it. It wasn't advertised correctly as being a 1-year term, which is the way it should be, which is the way it's gonna be in this election when there's an open
She has her
seat.
homework to do.
Welcome to Otter Creek, Megan. This is just the beginning. It's gonna get much, much odder than this.
And I will do that. I mean, obviously, it suggests in an even year, which we're coming into, 2 people are elected, you have a vacancy. So I absolutely agree with Ms. Belinda that when you have a vacancy and that seat is filled by the council, that individual is subject to election in the next upcoming election. So for that reason, you should have 3 people up for election in this even-numbered year. But I understand what you're saying.
It was 3 last time.
I understand, and I understand what you're saying, and I obviously, I don't know the history, and I'll look into it. I'm just saying, as far as where we sit currently, 3 people will be up for election in 2024. The vacant seat, and then the 2 that should be up in an even-numbered year.
In other words, Russell, your term ends in April. But why would you even care? You know these people love you. They adore you. They want you to lead them. I mean, come on. You're the Grinch. You canceled Christmas on them.
Okay, so how are you going to resolve the 3-way tie?
We'll have to look into that.
She has to look into it and she'll get back to you.
Well, I'll have to look into that. I mean, I can't answer that sitting here not knowing what seat was what.
I understand 100%. But the problem is, January is the qualifying time.
Understood.
So that's going to cause a big problem.
Sure.
If we don't resolve it soon.
We will get it resolved soon.
Perfect.
All right. So now moving on to the department reports, do we have anything for administration?
Our council meeting in January will be 1 week prior to this cutoff
Correct.
date.
As far as the administration part, each of you got a financial statement from every department. That is a true reflection of everything that's going on in those departments. We've got all the stuff corrected, and we are finished with our 2023 audit.
Wow.
So that means that we finished our fiscal year in September, the end of September, and by the end of this month, we should finish, we'll upload everything to the internal revenue for the audit. It'll be done. So it won't be a year. It won't be in June. We are done with the 2023.
That's good.
Yes, great job.
Great job.
This is huge. Belinda's on top of it. Now remember, she inherited this mess, this garbage heap in the office from Mary Mary. And Mary Mary was always behind on everything. There were penalties, there were fines, there was, you name it. And now Belinda has things in advance already taken care of. This is a huge victory and huge success for Otter Creek.
Hey, Belinda.
Good job.
Fixing a mess.
You're shaking your head over there.
Because I don't see how that has anything to do with the election coming up.
We're done with that. We moved on to the department.
Yeah, would you not listen?
I try to listen, I'm a hearing impaired. That's what going to war does to people. I came back with just hearing loss. I came back. A lot of people did not come back. So I'm sorry if you have to repeat yourself because of my...
I'm not aware of that. I apologize. I wear hearing aids.
I don't
I
have
understand.
apologies. I accept it, they're not necessary.
We are glad you returned and come back.
Let's unpack this. All right, first of all, he's being coached to say this, okay? I'm a little offended, to be honest with you, because Don did not actively engage himself into military action. He was drafted, and he served for 1.5 years. Now, I have absolutely nothing against anybody who was drafted, and I'm glad they served. But my point is this. There are individuals that are sitting in that meeting right now that did 4 terms in Iraq on the front lines and put their life on the line for our freedoms. And Don's complaining because he went to war and he came back with hearing loss. Okay, what did Don do in the war? He was drafted. He was in a clerical position. Now, I don't know how you get hearing loss, and I'm not saying he's lying, but he served in a clerical position as he was drafted. As others in this town, such as Carl Hughes, were a Marine fighting for our freedoms on purpose because they wanted to, because it was a drive and a passion of theirs. I don't think he should use this opportunity to disrespect their service based on his.
We thank all veterans for their service.
And everybody clapped.
I was deployed 4 times. Not drafted to one.
Okay. Was there anything for the water? Any updates on the water?
We did get our permit back from DEP, and we are Equipment should be coming in the first week of January and trying to set up and get stuff and get it online in the month of January.
Anything else for maintenance or public safety or anything? I don't think so. As you've seen, Richard's been hard at work painting the town hall and taking down the ceiling, and new lighting has been put up, lines, so Richard's been working hard, and we thank Richard for that.
I have help.
All right, and announcements, we have the children's food table every other Friday at 1 o'clock, December 22nd, and then January 5th and January 19th. You can still sign up for the email for your water bills. You'll get your bills faster. If you want to sign up, just see Belinda during town hall hours and she can put you on the list. And the next Waukesasa Water and Wastewater Co-op meeting will be January 17th. I don't believe they've announced the location yet, so stay tuned for that. It'll be posted up on the boards when it has been figured out. All right, and then we're moving on to public comments. The members of the public have 3 minutes to comment on items or issues discussed at this meeting. Does anybody have any comments or questions for us tonight? All right. And I just wanted to tell everybody to have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, spend time with your family and friends and get along.
Well,
Anybody else have anything?
Since we're past, we had a public meeting, one public, I failed to mention something, well, I'm trying to do it a public comment, and I guess it doesn't carry the same weight. How should I put it? Well, we voted on the bills and the minutes, et cetera, but we didn't vote on the financial reports themselves. That's also a requirement.
Oh, I didn't see it in the agenda.
Well, maybe it should be on the agenda, because what are the financial reports for? So, to be approved or disapproved. Paying the bills is one thing, and approving the financial reports is another thing.
If they approve the financials, does that change the financials? The number one is always going to be the number one. The number two is always going to be the number two, unless it's Mary doing math, okay? So in other words, if they were to go ahead, make a motion to say that the table covers are white, and second that motion to say that the table covers are white, and then everybody approves and they say, yes, the table covers are white, does that make the table covers white? No, they're black. It changes absolutely nothing. So actually approving financials means nothing. Now, Don has every opportunity to come into the office and go through the financials. He's been invited to again and again and again and again, and he doesn't. Again and again and again and again. Now, here's what you don't know. After the meeting, Russell goes up to Don and whispers in his ear, no, in our charter, we only approve paying the bills. It has nothing to do with the financials. Now, they have financial accountability over the financials. They need to know the financials, and they're being told them, and they're being invited to come in and go through them all. But does he? Nope, not at all. And here he goes, exploding, and then Russell corrects him after the meeting. Do we have that on camera? Well, keep watching.
So, maybe
You've
next
never been
month.
handed them, you only got them here and there before, so it was never
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry, Belinda. Listen, we can go back in there and look at all the records, and there'll be plenty of them there. In
Okay,
fact,
I'd be more than happy to go over the agenda with you. I'll see you tomorrow in my office, and we'll sit and go over it, okay?
That's not gonna
But
be
in the
long,
meantime, I will.
you don't think the financial reports should be voted on? Should be,
There
do you think that or not?
If it needs to be, just make a motion to put
Because
it on
it's
the
been done
agenda.
for 20 years, we always voted on it.
I
Of
don't
course
think-
you have
I
to
don't
vote
think
on
it's
the
voting on it's
financial
gonna change the
reports.
results
Of
of
course
the
you have to
report.
vote on them. Pardon?
I don't think us voting on the reports is going to change the actual report. I think the report is accurate and it's got its own standard.
Is that normal for it to be voted on?
I'm gonna say no, and when I say that, I mean, you budget, and so obviously that is a significant function of this council, and so certainly you look at it along the way to make sure it's, matches up with your allotted budget. But I mean, I'm not sure what you're approving or disapproving by way of a financial report, separate apart from budget.
We get the financial reports that, expenditures,
Sure.
et cetera, the bills,
And those are things,
the checks that are written, like a check registry, that sort of thing. We should be able to go through here and see what
And you can.
happened. What
You
happened in the
can.
last 30 days, what happened during the fiscal year.
Are you not happy with what you were provided this time?
Well, it's not complete.
How is it not complete?
Well, there's no check registry here. There's a budget.
everything's in that office right there, and you're welcome to come in
No, it
anytime
should be
during
included in
and
the
during
financial
the
reports,
daytime.
no?
Because our meetings aren't designed for us to sit here and bicker and ticker about these little details that don't apply.
We're supposed to approve minutes and to approve financial reports?
Yes, that's
Certainly.
the
Well, why don't
minutes is part of the
Well,
board.
why don't we approve the financial reports?
Well, what are you
It's
gonna do
always
if you don't
been-
approve them? Let me ask you this, there again, let's go back. If the financial reports that were given to you were accurate, why were you missing the ARPA? Tell me that, why were you missing the ARPA? The ARPA was never put into the financial statements.
This is what we normally are supposed to get. Just go ahead and read.
I don't need to read it, Don, I saw Gail's book, not every month had it in there.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, but, yes, they are.
Was it
On those
on,
reports, you can come in and address
was
any
it
office
on,
during the
was
day.
it on the agenda?
Every meeting I sat
Was
in,
it
you
on
complained
the agenda?
that you never got anything.
Was
We'll do
it
that.
on the agenda?
Our agenda?
Yeah, you're saying it should have been on the agenda, was it?
Well, we haven't done it for how long? For the last 6 months, you've been failing to do
Don, you have
this.
complained about this for the last 5 years that I've been coming to this meeting.
No, this is them.
No, I'm not.
I don't wanna call
Every month you
but that
come
is
and you
not
complain
true.
about these
I can produce scores of these things, probably 3 or 4 years worth of these.
As it stands, it's not really an official part of the meeting. If you have some issues with it, you need to come in here and address it during the day.
Well, This is the
Figure
place,
it out.
this is the place to bring the issues up.
If there is an issue, yes.
Well, there certainly is.
Okay,
Did you
so
come in
we've
to find
discussed
one?
that that is not practice. Is there anything else anybody has
Listen,
questions
we
or
did it
comments
for
about?
20-something years, and now they're saying, no, we don't need that. Just like with the recorders, you say, no, we don't want them, not a 6 months later.
Okay, well, there's nothing that makes you happy. Was there
It's not a
anything
matter
else?
of me being happy, it's a
All right,
matter of.
meeting
it's a matter of
adjourned.
us
Thank
being
you,
able to
everybody,
see.
for coming. Have a good evening, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.